All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to this week's High Heels to Happy Feels. I'm Stephanie
And I'm Natalie.
from Immersive Spirit. And this week, there has been so much going on, and we had an amazing call with this powerful group of women yesterday about energy and just the collective energy of everyone right now, right? So globally going on, personal stress in our lives, just the shift even in the stars, right? As Mercury is slowly moving direct again and just all of the different things going on. And so we wanted to talk, and we're going to go through some tips throughout the podcast and everything as well. But we wanted to talk a little bit about how we can normalize that and settle down and right? And be,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, absolutely. Yeah, I think what we really wanted to talk about was like keeping your energy and your vibration and everything kind of in alignment because even when, chaos is surrounding us, we get to choose to raise our vibration and we get to choose to live in alignment. So we have some things we just want to say.
Yeah. Yes. And it may be short and who knows, we may go on, but it's important to just really balance out our own energy amongst all the other things happening around us. So, Nat, what would you say is just we'll go through the tips and stuff here towards the end, but
Yeah. So I think an important thing that people need to think about, especially when there's chaos. Like over this last weekend, there was hands off the protests, and I mean, people are just kind of feeling chaotic. And it's really important as you start, yeah, every day, as you start every day, do some energetic hygiene because
Mhm.
this is really going to align you to yourself and ground you and give you some stability, especially during all of the chaotic times. So, like a simple daily practice. Well, and I wouldn't take a salt bath daily necessarily, but that is definitely something you could add. But you could do smoke clearing, cord cutting, grounding, like walking outside barefoot. You can take salt baths, meditation, anything that you are actively thinking of your energy and actively grounding yourself so you don't get spun up in that chaos.
God, that's so true. Another thing to think about too is, are you protecting your energy or are you projecting it?
Hmm.
And by projecting, I mean like projecting your fears. So are you putting all those, it's kind of like when you act versus react. Are you protecting your space or are you projecting all those fears out there? And it's really the difference between creating a safe boundary for yourself and what you will allow in your space versus creating a wall. And I think that that's something that goes hand in hand with the grounding. So when you're doing your grounding, for example, it's putting up that wall of protection for yourself, acknowledging that you are going to be putting the positive out and putting out the positive energy versus projecting your fears all the time.
Yeah, that's important. And you bring up another good point is really guarding your energy because our energy is sacred. Like that is one of the bodies that we walk around. Like we have our auras, we have our chakras, we have all of this energy that's just emanating through us all of the time. And we really do need to guard it because who are you giving your energy to and what's draining you? Like social media, we talk about doom scrolling and overcommitting ourselves and just the doom spirals that we get involved. So those walls that you were talking about are really super important, and it's really our energy is sacred. It is ours, and we are allowed to guard it. Um, so I think that's another important aspect of that.
Totally agree. And I think this is a good point to kind of go through our tips
Yeah.
for everybody because we've got 10 tips, right, that are super easy that you can incorporate into your life just to set your own vibration and to raise your own energy. So the first one I'm going to share is move your body. Moving your body is so important, right? If it's your favorite song and it comes on and you're listening to Alexa, Siri, Amazon Music, Spotify, whatever, your favorite, playlist, dance, shake it out. Get rid of those things because energy is motion. Energy in motion is powerful.
Hmm.
And for me, for example, I can play, there's certain Fleetwood Mac songs, I can play that and it changes my whole vibration. because I now I know I'm going to dance, I'm going to sing, and I'm going to move. And then I'm going to end up chasing my dogs around the house because they think it's playtime. But it's a body in motion. And so getting up, taking those steps and putting your own body into motion, even exercising, going for a walk, doing those things, all really important in just bringing your energy level up.
Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one. Another good one is just staying hydrated.
Hmm.
And I really didn't notice that this was such a big deal, but I started talking to a dietitian because, like I've got, like I said, lots of people who listen know I've got dermatology issues and all of that. But anyway, water really, really does boost your physical energy, and
Hmm.
like my flow just feels better. I feel more in the flow. And you can do lots of different things with water. You can add lemon or blueberries or herbs, or even, infuse them with intentions like our jars that we got down in Tucson,
Yeah.
crystals, all of that. I mean, really, when you drink more water, you will feel more energized. So hydration magic would be, I guess, what I would call that.
Heck yeah. And it's so true. And I mean, it's funny as you said that I took a big old sip of water, but I have,
Of
and
course you
joke
did.
with you because these are like 40 ounces, but it ensures that if I'm doing that 2 or 3 times a day, that I'm getting enough water because it
Hmm.
is. And one of those things I always say, like when I'm showering and I'm thanking the elements, water, I thank the water for cleansing and nourishing me because it's cleansing my outside, but it's nourishing my inside. So important. So
Yeah, absolutely.
tip three, sound shifts everything. So I already mentioned the movement and kind of my go-to on the songs. Well, listening to your meditation when you are going to sleep, right? And by meditation, it could be your sound bowls, it could be your crystal bowls, it could be just, play the sound of rain right now. It could be drumming, it could be any of that. But that high frequency music is going
Mhm.
to elevate your energy. So I get, if I'm depending upon which chakra I'm looking at, I'll look at like a 963 hertz or a 741 and just let it play, right? Get that vibe going. And then of course, like I said, always going to a good old one of my rock playlists. Helps me raise it, helps me get my energy moving in the right direction. And it can shift your whole mindset, right? Like crappy mood in the morning, whatever's going on, you can force yourself to just play your playlist. Next thing you know, your mood's changed.
Yeah,
Magic.
totally, absolutely. And well, and sound, like you said, it kind of flows in two ways because you've got the sound that moves your body.
Hmm.
Maybe the hertz isn't necessarily one of the high vibration hertz, but it makes your blood pump. So
Yeah.
that gets all of the energy moving, and then you can do those higher hertz and it kind of flows off. So yeah, those are good ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm actually surprised after you said it about the water and like being thankful and that you didn't mention gratitude. I thought for sure that's where you were going to go with that, but because you didn't, I'm going to steal it because
Okay.
gratitude is a total frequency boost. Like the science and spiritual side of gratitude, this is like proven over and over. You raise your vibration by being thankful for what you already have. And say it out loud or write it down, or I would prefer writing it down. That's kind of my thing because I like pen to paper. It feels magical to me.
Right. Right.
But either way, it works. And um, actually, I do them both. I stay in gratitude a lot of the day because I write most of them down, but then I've got my feet touching the ground in the morning and my
Yeah.
feet leaving the bed at night, and I say them out loud then too. And um, it's a really good thing to pick up. So, like, that's something I would suggest for sure.
I love gratitudes. I mean, we've got our journal, right? That of course we sell, but every day it's got a place just for what am I grateful for?
And
And
that's where I write it.
hmm and then even my digital planner also has a little place for a gratitude journal, so I could go in and just do little notes in there. So depending upon where I am and what I'm doing, but yeah, like I said, in the shower when I'm like, thank you for the earth, thank you for the water, thank you for the fire, thank you for the air, thank you, spirit. I mean, those are just things that it's like thanking the elements. I'm grateful. So yeah, good one. That's a great tip. I'd say tip five, nature reset. I mentioned the
Speaking of
energy.
the elements.
Yeah, right, right. Speaking of, get outside. It doesn't matter if you live in the city, it doesn't matter, if you're living out in the country, if you live in a small town, going for a walk, um, if you can't, especially in the summertime and in the spring, as it's starting to get beautiful out, barefoot. Go put your feet in the grass, stick your toes in the sand, put your feet in the water in a stream, in the creek, whatever, and just connect that and just recognize at the time, right? So as you're doing it, take 5 seconds to be like, thank you for the earth I stand on. Or thank you for this water that cleans between my toes. Or thank you for this beautiful fire pit that I'm sitting around and just connecting with nature. I mean, whatever it is, it's just a very quick way to reconnect. Um, and then of course, we're pretty lunar gals. So a little moon bathing, awesome. I will also say we've got, and that's one of the things like in our journal that it's got that 10 minutes. Did you get your 10 minutes of sun today kind of thing?
Mhm.
Your sun therapy. So sitting in the sun, you don't have to sunbathe. I'm not talking go out and lather in Crisco and get your cancer on. I'm talking about did you go out and just let some vitamin D in and just soak
Mhm.
in some rays and just enjoy that? Did you go out under the stars and just really appreciate their brilliance? Did you go out and lay under that full moon for 5 seconds and go, yeah, this is cool?
Yeah, those are really good tips. And that adds to add on to that, kind of an energy clearing. And energy clearing is really good, not only through the ones that we're talking about already, but when we're talking about like if you feel like you're having a really muggle day or you're really kind of weighed down, you can smudge or you can use aura sprays
Yes.
or you can even use visualizations to clear your aura or clear your chakras. Um, so I I would advise, and this is just how I live, and it's not necessarily right. This is just how I think. But on new moons, I do energy clearings, and on full moons, I do energy clearings. So I kind of try to keep the vibe high all the time. And I notice if I don't do it because I get really pissy and I get passive aggressive, and
Yeah.
you know how you get that defensive
Uh-huh.
stance? That is a really good indicator to maybe, sit in some incense or do something that's going to help you. And smudging is great for that. Aura sprays are great for that. Aura sprays, literally, I create like moon water with an essential oil and I mix it for a great spray and I can just spray the room with that. And with intention, it really does make things amazing.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
And it's giving you a scent and it's giving you that water and it's just kind of like you know what it is and you know your intentions behind it. Yeah. Yeah. For me the other night, like going out and just being able to see, I love the Northern Lights and I'm so grateful that we get them as often as we do here. And even though it was fading and it wasn't as prominent as it normally would be, it's magic, right? And those are the kind of things that cleanse my soul. But those coming in and just smudging the house, and I'm long overdue for it here. So, yeah. I'd say another. So, if I'm moving on to another tip, crystals. Crystals,
Oh,
as
yeah.
Natalie mentioned with the hydration, being able to infuse waters with crystals, and you always want to check your crystals first, right? Make sure that it's something that is, sorry, I just got bumped by my dog. It's something that is going to be safe for water. Like I wouldn't put selenite, for example, or halcite or some of those in water because they're going to break down and or malachite because malachite's actually not safe for you in a consumable fashion. So you always want to check and know more about your crystals. But like with those our crystal mugs that we have and hopefully we'll have those on our site pretty soon, but just being able to keep those crystals even in the bottom where they don't even come into contact with your water so you're able to infuse whichever stone and whichever energy you want is huge, but in a pinch. So that's just your water. For ladies, stick them in your pocket, stick them in your bra, right? Just a little crystal. I know Natalie's known for that. Um,
Hmm.
Shane carries his in his pockets in his jeans. He's got a couple that I've given him. We keep selenite wands in our trucks. They're under our seat for protection and clearing the activation and clearing the space. So they're awesome for all sorts of things and boosting your energy and protection.
Yeah, those are great ones. And yeah, socks, pockets, bra. Like, of course,
Yep.
every time I do laundry, I find ones and I'm like, thank God that one survives water. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Right?
Um, Another really good tip for this is speaking kindly to yourself.
Oh,
So, and this is might be a weird thing for folks to hear, but I've thought about this for a very long time. But as we speak, we are spelling. We are creating spells because our words are spells. And so that's why it's so important we think about what we say, whether we're engaging others or whether we're doing self-talk. So, really setting yourself up for success, like affirmations, whether you write them down or saying them out loud, but saying them out loud gives them power because you are creating a spell, you are creating your environment. And there's some really good ones like I trust the timing of my life. I am safe to be seen and heard and celebrated. Those are two of my favorites. Or the universe supports me in miraculous ways. So those are really good ones. And I think affirmations are an amazing part of keeping your vibration high.
totally agree. And if you think about it, I mean, words are spells. You can absolutely hurt someone with words.
Hmm.
You can absolutely lift
Yep.
someone's soul with words, simple words. You're beautiful. I'm amazing, versus your whatever negative. It can tear you down, and those negative things last a lot longer and hurt a lot longer than your positive. So go positive, stay high, because those are the ones that are going to just keep resonating with you. The more frequently you're speaking the positive words to yourself, the easier it is to stick.
And that's when you're talking about that, I think it's a good idea to like point out shadow work right now because
Oh,
when you are in a negative and you're talking to somebody else, if you can catch yourself, like if you were putting guilt on somebody because they didn't live up to some type of expectation, if you can stop yourself and own that and make the situation better for everybody, and then take a note about what you were about to say that you didn't and do some journaling on that because you don't need to own that either. Get that, that'll raise your vibration to get some of that stuff off your chest.
oh, so true. Get it out of your headspace.
Yeah.
And, the shadow work is about analyzing the why. What is it that made me think that? And what is it in myself that caused me to almost say this to this person and be so hurtful?
Yeah. Why was I going to rip them down?
Right. Why was I
Yeah.
going to tear another human being, another life force down to make myself feel better?
Hmm.
And when you dig into that and then write it down and let it go, what a huge uplifting experience for you because you're like, oh my God, I've been doing this my whole life and I had no idea.
Right.
Huge. To journaling, to the point of that, I will say another really key tip and one that I need to take and practice is unplug and
Yeah.
breathe. I It's not just the breathing exercises, which Nat's huge on the 4-7-8, which is an awesome one, right? Breathing in a slow 4, holding for a slow 7, and releasing for a slow 8, and breathing in through your nose and when you release through your mouth. Huge, huge. And there's a lot of different places that will use that. And there's different methods. So breathe however it works best for you to pull in that positive and release the negative. But we spend so much time on our screens and we're grateful. Don't get me wrong. We love living in our laptop land and on our phones and we have all these fun technology things and we're able to reach so many people this way. But we need to take that time to disconnect, turn off the television, turn off the radio, turn off everything. I mean, turn off your tech. Even if the lights are too much for you, light some candles and settle in and just breathe and just see. You're going to open your mind. And the first few times, if you're not used to doing that or you're not, your mind's going to wander and you're going to be thinking about everything else you need to do, or I'm not doing anything, or it's going to make you antsy. Own it and sit there. Force yourself for a good 5 or 10 minutes and slowly make it a little longer each time to really adapt. And you're going to be shocked as to what's going to come through for you as you take longer time with that and what spirit's going to say to you and just how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, so important because it also is really tied to your parasympathetic nervous system, which I
Mm.
don't know, I'm not going to go too deep into that. But like your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight mode, so the parasympathetic nervous system is really rest or digest mode, if you want to think of it like that. but it can slow your heart rate and increase your digestion and promotes relaxation and calm and really helps regulate your emotions. So anyway, it's yeah, getting to the parasympathetic state, emotional healing and energy work and
Oh,
like it
right?
just heart brain coherence, those type I we have a manifestation class, which is why I'm like going off on a tangent, which I'm going to pull it back right now. Just wanted to highlight.
Right though. But it's true.
It's
It's
true.
true, you know?
It's true.
Yeah.
And okay, so I'm all excited about this. So I'm going to follow up with follow your joy. Do
Yeah.
stuff that makes you laugh. Do something just because it lights you up. Like we just took a tangent because, I like talking about all of the different things that we talk about. So
Right.
yeah, I got a little spiritual fuel going on.
Yeah, but it's good because it's what we do and it's like it yeah, we're sharing the energy, folks.
Right.
Right? We're in a good energy space. We're like, yay. I know I was just thinking, ooh, tonight would be a good night to just unplug. Yeah. But I know Shane will work all day and he'll want to come home and just chill out in front of TV. So, yeah, we'll see. See how that goes. I might go unplug by myself. Although
Right.
hot baths, great place for that. But yes,
Well, is the sun shining in Montana? Maybe you guys can go out on a ride.
it is. But he'll be
Oh, yeah, he'll be a little worn down after
yeah, and he'll be
day at
late
work.
today just because the sun is shining. He's trying to work while there's no rain this later this week. So, spring in
Right.
Montana means April and May we get rain and snow, and then June we get rain, and then we have July, August, September, and then we get snow. So, right? Anyway,
Right, it was pretty short season
it
there.
is pretty short. All right. So, yeah. Um, let's talk about stars a little bit.
Yeah,
And the energy of the stars. Yeah.
there we are just in chaos. And okay, so this is not a special year, but it is a special year because Pluto and Neptune are moving this year, which is major like chaos changes. That's, generational type of stuff that's happening. So we have that going on, but we also have our common retrogrades that happen, like Venus every 18 months, and of course Mercury 3 times a year. Mars even had a sneak in. I think that's two times a year. I can't remember the exact one.
Yeah.
But with all of that stuff going on, like we're sneaking into a new zodiac and then we're retrograding to look at how that felt. So there's just a lot of shadow work, and this is going to cause chaos in the environment. Like the political stuff that's going on, everything is just kind of swirling and getting turned up for us.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of energy. It is a lot of energy because it's just like you said, it's constant and everybody, and we were talking about this with these gals yesterday too, and
Mhm.
just kind of how after the eclipse, it felt like kind of an and with both Venus, and we've talked about this on another podcast, with both Venus and Mercury retrograde, that will shift, Mercury retrograde is going to wreak all sorts of havoc on everything around you environmentally. It just does. It's entertaining to watch because planes, trains, automobiles, laptops, anything you work with, you're like, I'm just going to blame it because it's fun. Like you got a scapegoat. But then when you get Venus in that mix too, now you've got some of your own inner turmoil going on there too. So you have to really concentrate on the self-love, not being mean, not saying things in anger because it's just that space. And starting next week, we come out, well, actually, starting tomorrow, we start coming out of Mercury. We go Mercury direct. And Venus, I have to look, but I know we're pretty close on the heels of that too, going direct. So we're going to be in shadow still for a little bit, but we are in this next week going to start feeling a really good positive energy shift. So we need to
Well,
take, oh, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say I'm kind of excited for when Saturn goes into Aries, because Saturn being the big guy of responsibility, but it's
Yeah.
gonna be in there with Neptune, and that's gonna be in May. Like I think we're just continually stepping forward
Uh-huh.
into this shifted energy. I mean, of course, Neptune's gonna retrograde, so we're gonna have, but like it's all about moving in and out of the shadow. So our vibrations, keeping control of our energy and how we're going to operate in this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really looking to like May 24th to 20, I can't remember, 24th to 25th when Saturn's going into Aries. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean
It's
to totally.
No, but it's a good point because then it's going to change, you think about Saturn and Neptune and Saturn always takes a bad rap, but you need it, right? You need those reflection moments and kind of the shadow work and the I don't want to say the dark side because it's not the dark side. It is the shadow. You just
Right.
need that reflection time. And Neptune is all about the, you know, what's intuition and things around you. And so pulling those together is going to be so cool.
It is. And then like they're gonna live together for a little bit and then Saturn's gonna retrograde for a few months. So it's like we get a taste of it and we're gonna kind of understand it. And then Saturn's gonna roll back and let us kind of deal with that and then
Yeah,
come back direct at the end of the year. So I think all year is just gonna be full of freaking chaos.
I do too. I do too.
But it's going to get better. Like we're going to start understanding it and we're going to start moving into the age of Aquarius with Pluto and, Neptune. Everybody's going to settle into their places and we're going to quit going this back and forth we've got going on and
Yeah.
get a huge sigh of relief.
Right.
And
And
then at
we
the end
have
of year,
to,
Jupiter goes retrograde and we'll see how our luck's going.
right. But the thing is, it's like we knew 2025 was going to be powerful.
Yes, for
We
sure.
just didn't know exactly how. I mean, we could see the retrograde, you could see all of this, but now the chaos and the global and the things that are just going on around the world in our own country here in the US, which
Hmm.
I didn't vote for him. And so, some of those kind of things, just it's so much, but it's still like there's still something magic feeling and stirring. I mean, watching everybody stand up and raise up. That's Aquarius, right? That's the
Hmm.
power of speaking up, the power of the people, and that is so cool. And it just brings really killer things for 2026. So I'm really excited. Um, but yeah, I agree. Just we got to keep our energy up to be a part of it.
Yeah,
Don't,
get our shadow work done as part of our energy. Like own the stuff that we get to own.
yes,
But it's really important to just understand that you are the calm and you are own storm. So you get
absolutely.
to handle your energy. You get to handle how you're going to project, how you're going to react versus, are you going to respond versus react? Like everything is going to be owned by you.
Yes, absolutely. And you have to take responsibility for it. So,
Hmm.
and that's the other thing, right? Be responsible for your actions, your reactions, anything that like that. It's you, it's your energy. So own it, take care of it, protect it, and be kind to others right now. Be kind always, but right now be especially kind because
Right.
you
Be
just
the
don't
person
know.
you're meant to be on this timeline
Yep,
because that's why you're here
yep. Because you just don't know where everybody's at right now.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Sweet. Anything else before we wrap this one up?
Mm. I think we talked about a whole bunch of stuff.
Right. And we will share the 10 tips. So the 10 tips that we
Yeah.
ran through, we'll put those out on socials. And of course, they'll be on our website for our members. So we'll have those available for you. Um, and yeah, I will say we are trying to get to our 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're not subscribing yet, please do. We'd like to be able to live stream, and you got to have 1,000 to get there. We'll push for more after that. But right now, get us to 1,000. So please share, get us out there, subscribe, listen wherever you love your podcast, and make sure you're sharing us with a friend. We will see you at immersivespirit.com. Of course, we've got lots of goodies out there for our members, so feel free to join in those conversations. And until then, I think that's it. So, Stephanie,
And I'm Natalie.
and we are High Heels to Happy Feels from Immersive Spirit. We will see you again next week. Keep that energy high.